Would you like for your friends to call you loyal, to say you are a really loyal friend? I would too. Let's talk about it in your morning cup of inspiration. I'm going to read a story in a bit from the Bible about loyalty, but the other week when I was at my high school reunion, my buddy Terry Brady was telling some people that I was the first friend he made when he moved to St. Joe. I think it was in 6th grade at Jefferson Elementary School. And he said that later that day he was out on the playground and these two bullies came up to him, and their names were Steve and Pete. I remember them well. And he said they told him they were going to fight him because he was new and he really didn't belong there. And Terry said, before he knew it, I had stepped in and said, okay, guys, now the odds are even, 2-on-2. And he said they kind of backed down and walked away. And he was telling everybody that he'll never forget that and that I was his true blue friend. And that made me feel so good. I had forgotten that story, but Terry and I are still friends to this day. Well, it's important to be loyal, and the Bible has stories of that. You know, it says in Proverbs that there is a friend who sticketh closer than a brother. And that, of course, is Jesus. He will never leave us nor forsake us. But David, King David, was loyal. He was loyal to Saul, even though Saul was trying to kill him. And he was loyal to Saul's son, Jonathan, whom he loved very much. But this story I'm going to read in 2 Samuel chapter 9 is after Saul and Jonathan had died. And David was looking for a way to pay back his love and his loyalty to Jonathan and Saul. And he says in verse 1 of chapter 9, David asked, is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake? And one of Jonathan's servants stepped forward and said, yes, there's a son of Jonathan's who's crippled in both feet. So David asked them to bring the son to them. And he had an odd name. His name was Mephibosheth. Boy, there's a name, huh? If you're looking for a name for a baby boy. Mephibosheth came to David. He bowed down to pay him honor. And David said, Mephibosheth, your servant, he replied. And I'm reading down now in chapter 9, verse 7. Don't be afraid, David said to him, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather, and you will always eat at my table. Is that loyalty or what? Jonathan had passed, and yet David still wanted to show kindness to his only heir, his son, that was born with crippled feet, 2 crippled feet, it says. But David wanted to take care of him. And one other thing I wanted to read is in Proverbs 18, verse 24, where it says, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and that is Jesus. And we need to be that kind of friend. Lord, help us to be loyal, to be faithful, especially to our friends and to those we love. And we thank you for your word today in thy name. Amen. Thanks for joining me for that morning cup of inspiration, and I'll see you soon.